What is happening with penny stocks? Is the OTC back? That's a question we ask ourselves every day, every week, especially during the slow periods where there's not so many runners, there's not a lot of movement, and really there's just not a lot going on. So a lot of traders, kind of merged into like a small cap or, options and so forth, which is great. You want to keep that money moving. But as of recent, the OTC has started heating up, and we want to know why. What's happening? Well, we're going to discuss that a lot today, but I think a lot of it has to do with the sentiment. So if a lot of people are just complaining, saying, oh, OTC's dead and the penny stocks suck and the whole nine, it's going to reflect negatively across everybody, and, especially when runners aren't happening. But all it takes is one stock. One stock can ignite an entire quarter of stocks just flying, because what happens is people will see others buying it and they're like, oh wow, well I don't want to miss out, so they start buying, and then it just creates this trickle effect and it just eventually turns into a runner. So that's generally how OTC is, being retail driven. So today I'm going to talk about a lot of stocks. There's so much opportunity out there, like even with INTK, okay, which everybody thought last year this thing was going to NASDAQ, and then all of a sudden they put out their new quarterly and it wasn't very good. They said that they had a lot of issues with, logistics or supply materials. And it went down a lot as far as their revenue. But, I'll post here, I was like, there's 0.05, there's 0.06. They have a catalyst coming up. Doesn't even matter. I'll take some, because it might swing into this date. They have a dated catalyst, which OTC loves speculation. It loves speculative plays. The smallest amount of DD can really reach very far into creating a huge runner. So look at the price now, 0.0009. So you got 50% on your move. Just like that. You didn't have to do anything. You're like, okay, I'll buy the bottom. Look, as it's going into mid-June, which their quote-unquote catalyst is, it's starting to climb. That's just how retail responds. They see a date, they're like, they might get some volume running into that date, so maybe I'll grab some. Then somebody else grabs some. Somebody else grabs some. So I think the OTC is here to stay, but I think it is an always and ever adapting market. So, we had the stop signs. We had the SEC issues, we had caveat emptors, and those are not going away. But when you adapt and you find a different situation, like, okay, well, let me play catalyst. Well, now everything's so bottom, if this stock's going to get news, it's going to move. So I think a lot of that is starting to trend across the market. So it's exciting to see. I know a lot of people are really excited going forward. So I'm going to cover a few today that I really like that have forward catalysts, and I'm going to talk about two at the end. One that I've talked about several times before, actually both of them. But the last one I think is really going to turn it up this year. I think they have a lot in the pipeline, and people are going to stop seeing it as a trade and start seeing it as an investment. And if you go through and look at everything they have to offer and what they're building, it can really make some life-changing money. So excited to be back. I know it's been a while since we did a video. Excited to do my challenge again. So if you followed me last year, I did the $5,000 to $50,000 challenge, documented everything, and the way I do it is basically accumulate, for a catalyst, and then once the catalyst drives up, I'll sell and move on to the next one. But the size isn't too large to where it's going to affect anybody, but at the same time, so this time I'm going to do 2,500 to 25,000 every couple of months. I'll say, hey, this is the progress, this is where we're at, just like we did last time we were doing quarterly. And I'll basically be running it off of the stocks to talk about here. Now remember, not a financial advisor. These are all quote unquote ideas, trade ideas that you could take or could not. You can just watch them. You could paper trade them. You can do whatever you want. I don't need the SEC calling me, because at the same time, we're in a community. We just want to help each other. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first one I want to chat about today is an oldie but a goodie. So if you were trading OTC and penny stocks back in, 2019, 2020, you would know that this stock right here, ATVK, ran from literally like 0.002, 4, 6, whatever it was, to penny. I got in around a penny, and it ran all the way to 34 cents. So back then, a lot of people either didn't have money or were at the beginning of the crazy boom, and they would put everything into it. And this is the point where you could hold anything for months, and it would just continue to climb and climb and climb. So as long as the company was active and putting press releases out and saying, they could say hello, and then the stock would explode. It didn't even matter back then. Obviously, things have changed now, and there's still opportunity, but they're back. So they went caveat emptor. What was it, 2 years? And they finally came out. They got Pink Current, and it had its initial pop. I know it was a lot of Canadian brokers could buy it, and even TD Ameritrade, I believe, had orders at some point towards the end. So a lot of people were ready for the Pink Current to happen. I didn't even think it was going to happen. I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. The blue fridge, the this and that, zero chance. Prove me wrong, and I love it. So if I know one thing, Sean Pasley is very active, and he always has been, because he's also the same CEO as EPAZ, EPAZ, which we'll talk about here in a minute too. But just looking at the chart, as you can see here, pop, and it's just riding this blue 50 MA right here. So I mean, it did wick a little bit under. So if you can get some 008, so I've been trying to accumulate slowly, and I'll show you why. But just look at that chart. I mean, it's ready to explode 015 to 02. I mean, could go even higher if retail gets behind it. But looking at their tweets, it says ATVK is in the process of applying for OTCQB, then penny stock exempt. This may remove restrictions placed by some brokerage firms. But then this is the one. This is what grabbed me. So AI's been hot. Artificial intelligence, everybody loves it. The AI stock itself has just been running crazy. Moon Market loves it. He got in early. But ATVK will be updating the public on our artificial intelligence, robotics, and machine learning products, as well as our acquisitions shortly. So it's one of those stocks that this is my bread and butter, right? So it's like you see a chart like this just slowly grinding up, and just came back down from 015s. Now it's under a penny or right around a penny. You're like, this is a prime target. So when I accumulate, I'll literally stagger bids from let's say 009 down to 008 at 25,000, 10,000, 100,000 increments, and just wait and just collect as dumps happen, because I know it's going to go up. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, the next day, next week, but I know that this stock's going to get attention. It's got nostalgia, it's got acquisitions coming, artificial intelligence, robotics, you name it, it's going to happen. So this is one I really like, accumulating this one around this level, and we'll touch base on a little bit later after it happens. And we were just talking about Pasley. So this is EPAZ, and it makes crazy runs all the time. So I think they bring in an IR team to really push volume, because the volume that will sometimes go through the stock, it doesn't seem like it's retail. But as you can see here, look at 005, where I'm pointing, double bottomed. So as you can see, all these wicks, it is a thin share structure as far as the stock, but wick down here 005. So I mean, we're talking back from early February, March lows. So they do have some notes, they do have some dilution, to which they push through eventually when they do have so much news coming. But this is a prime area, 005, 006. If it breaks below 005, that must be either one, heavy dilution, bad news, and I'm out. But anything in the fives, accumulating, because same thing as ATVK, they've been putting it out. They've been saying EPAZ filing a series of artificial intelligence patents for its drone technology and battery technology. And then they've had meetings with Air Force, the government, and they're applying for this and trying to get this. And I mean, this was their last press release here. And then, as far as are applying for the patents, the drone 1000 heavy lift drone, We're pushing our drone technology to the next level with artificial intelligence, and we need to protect our intellectual property. So that almost brings it up as, our EPAZ and ATVK kind of go, coincide together. One does AI, one is the software, one is the actual drone. So it'll be interesting to see this going forward, but I'm telling you, these are the ones you want to grab. You want to accumulate the ones that are active, that have crazy news all the time, because they're bread and butter. They're the ones that are always going to push out the gains, as far as me. So next one I'm going to talk about is GRCU. So this one caught on my radar. I was a little upset, because I was like, okay, this looks good at 006, 000 is trip 6. And then it looks pretty good at 008. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to chase it. This thing ramps like 15. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I was like, I'll take a little bit here and there just to watch it. But it did come back down. So we thought that it might have had notes or dilution or something was happening because it was very large selling. It could have been an old shareholder or note holder or what have you that was like, oh, look, it's finally moving. Let me get out. But look at what they've been talking about. So GRC Real Mark II Media has two individuals, DOD and Pentagon, sign off contracts for multi $100 million to $1 billion contract potential. Okay. GRC, many shareholders have been wondering how the company is planning to reduce the remaining shares it desires to get an ideal share structure. The answer at some point, the company will be facilitating a share buyback. Okay, so we have possible DOD, possible Pentagon, contracts, government, and share buybacks. Okay, what's next? Want to emphasize zero reverse split ever. We do not believe in that method of cleanup at all. Awesome. We are committed to spending the time cleaning up the share structure right away. And then here we go. We'll have news on that. So this is the same thing. We talked about it at ATVK. This is how I like to do, like, quote unquote, my challenge account is accumulate. News finally hits, it explodes. Boom, sell on to the next one. So they put here, GRCU will have news on this deal in the next several weeks. This deal is pertaining to revenues for Medicare and Medicaid for patient care. It is still in the works. Now, clicking on this, so they had talked about to complete a cash flow acquisition that brings in close to $1 million a month. And that's just post-acquisition companies planning to buy back shares. So what we have is possible government contracts, possible buybacks, $1 million, basically $12 million annually acquisition, and look where this thing is trading. It's literally at trips. I mean, if you wait a few days, you could probably get 0007, 0008, and it'll explode back into teens. But this is one of those stocks that has the DD behind it that all they need to do is announce one of those big things, and it's going to pop. So for me, I can be patient. I can accumulate trip 7, trip 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't matter because I know in the next few weeks, as they said, they're going to have that announcement. It's going up. Simple as that. Like, if it doesn't, something's broken. So definitely like that one as well. So we have ATVK, we have EPAS, we have GRCU, all with forward catalyst coming. So something to keep an eye on. And then the next one we're going to talk about is HIRU. So I covered this in my last video or the video before that when it was 0017, 002. I'm like, guys, this is the same point it was, a few months ago when they had that big shareholder get out or the note holder, whoever it was, or for the equipment or factory, it doesn't matter what happened. It hit like 0016 and I was like, this is crazy because this stock usually trades around 005 or more. And then, obviously OTC is a little bit slower now. So let's say 004, 0035. So I was like, we're looking at least 100% upside. So same day, if you watch the old video, you know that, and I know a couple people got in because they still high-fiving, shucking and jiving. They're like, hey, I bought a lot of HIRU under 002 and it flew back up to 004. It's like I hit 100%. I took some off the table, kept some, sold it all. Doesn't matter what you do because, they're steadily buying back shares now. I haven't seen an OTC, I don't think, ever, say that they're buying back shares. But this is their roadmap here that they have going on for the rest of the year. So, this is where they're doing share buyback. So as far as forward catalyst, it's tough to say, but this is one of those ones that they've said there's no more diluting, and they've even decreased the AS. But they have audited financials coming up, new customers coming up, so I'm sure we're going to hear about new contract news and so forth. So this one is just one of the ones always on my radar, nonstop. If it ever comes back down there again, double down. That's just the way we got to do it. But they've just been saying every day, picked up more shares. 12.5 million shares purchased this month. New customers getting bottled. Love Water Inc. as promised. Here's our labels. We're getting bottled and happening. They're growing. So I love it. It's not the I want to say the fanciest. It's not like, oh, DoD contracts like we've talked about before, or like, the DD that like ILIS has or CYBL had or any of that, to where, we have drone technology software or, whatever, putting out fires. Yeah, it's bottled water, but at the same time, shareholder value is important to them because they've gone through, they're like, hey, they were honest. We have some dilution. They let us know when it was over. Hey, we're going to start buying back shares now that the dilution's over. And then look, stock's just getting pushed up. So I know shareholders right now are happy. So let's see if it continues. But I think they have a bright future. Now, this is the one. This to me has so much potential. I mean, getting geggy with it. You know, if you watch the video from last year when we took this thing up to, was it over a penny, 2 pennies? And, you know, we had the video where we were singing about it because of the run it had was crazy. I think it was 0013 to a couple pennies. Guess what? It's coming. This company has the best DD and has the best opportunity to make people rich. I really believe that. But, you know, again, not a financial advisor, so don't listen to me. We're paper trading over here. But, you know, when we talk about what they're offering and what they're building, it literally reminds me of a mini ILUS, ILUS, or, you know, one of the big ones that had big revenue. And, you know, they did have their speed bumps as they grew because, you know, Geggy did have a Reg A, which killed the share price. But we're going to talk about a few things. So, you know, when we go into their website, you know, I'm just going to click on this for a second. You know, we're not going to watch the whole thing because it's like a minute and a half. But, you know, going through their website, and then you look at their video of what their patent pending technology, and then you can go to their Twitter or website and watch this on your own. But, I mean, it's incredible what they want to build. I love the song, too. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, so I'll just go ahead and kill it. So, go to the website, check that out. You know, they're talking about reduction of carbon footprint. You know, they're building this. But let's go through and look at the news they've been putting out. So, since March, you know, a lot of people have been waiting because they say to themselves, I like Geggy, but they still have a Reg A. So they still have dilution coming through. So some people, like, you know, me, I know a few others, we're buying under 001. We're buying 008, Trip 8, Trip. I never got any 7s. So I had 8s and 9s because I knew eventually it was going to wear off. And, you know, I was like, hey, I'm long on this stock. If I can hold this for next year and it provides 10x from there, like, you buy a few million shares, that can really make a nice chunk of change. But, you know, when we go back and look at March, you know, look at all the people they're hiring, and we'll talk about the roadmap too. But, you know, hires Jaron Doran as the lead engineer, you know, first customer strategic partner. So they actually, what is it? Taylor Transport, who's been around 25 years. So this is one of their customers that basically signed a letter of intent with, and, you know, they're going to let them use their rail to test, you know, their new product that they're going to be bringing out. And if you want to go through and read this, like I said, I'm not going to try and make this video 3 hours long. I can do a separate video on all the Geggy DD because it's endless. But just looking at everything they're trying to accomplish, so we're like, okay, that's cool. You know, they got this, and then so you have their first binding purchase order, and then, you know, Genesis Electronics joins hands with the Portland Vancouver Junction Railroad. Great, you know. And then it's just like, you know, it talks about the railroad even more, and then it says announces investment to close Reg A offering. So let's see, Genesis subscription agreement. So 40 Brightwater LLC came in and was like, hey, I will gladly buy the rest of your Reg A for $190,000 because I've seen what you are doing. As, you know, Shannon Newby states here, I've seen everything you're putting together. I understand the future of this company. I will gladly buy $200,000 worth of Trip 8, you know, on a stock. Like, most of the Trip stocks are garbage, dilutive. You know, they do have news. There's a rare one once in a while that makes a huge run, kind of like GEGI has. But most of them are kind of hot dog stands, pretzel factories, you know, CBD, the whole nine. And then you look at what this company is doing, and you're like, there's no way. You know, how is this possible? How is this stock so low? So, and then, you know, they announced the closing of it, and then they're like, hey, could it get any better? Well, it sure can. Brightwater's so excited that they actually lent them $750,000 loan. You know, like, hey, you guys want to grow? We got you. Like, we want to be a partner. We understand what you're bringing to the table. And then so we'll talk about their roadmap too. But, you know, going through the roadmap, you can see people and partnerships, pre-order readiness, you know, as far as fundraising, product launch, phase 2 launch. And then, you know, details everything they're doing. So, like, to me, the opportunity is so big for this stock that, you know, if I'm trading options or I'm trading small caps or even other OTC runners, like, I will keep accumulating this. It doesn't matter. I'll probably buy all the way up to 0025, you know, once it's all said and done, because I'll have such a large position on this that when it does go, and it has the opportunity to like I said, hit a penny, 2 pennies before, because, you know, when CYBL did it, they had a pretty large share structure, but good DD, and put it 5 cents. You know, ILIS were 50, 60 cents, you know, when the share structure was very similar as well. So when you have penny stocks in the OTC, which are rare, that have this type of due diligence behind them, and you can see what they're trying to build. And when you have other companies, LLCs, or, you know, coming in buying Reg A's and giving them more money to fund and, you know, just to keep things rolling, you know, once they start announcing those contracts and more purchase orders and so forth, this thing's going to explode. This kind of reminds me of getting like INTK back when they started saying, oh, we're going to have contracts with Lowe's and, you know, Walmart and this and that, and the stock just went to the moon. So like I said, I'll do another video on all the DD inside this one, but I just had to get it out. I actually wanted to make a video back when it was near trips, but, you know, I was lazy and said, this and that. You know, my kid's playing soccer tournaments on the weekends and the whole nine. So I'm going to try and be more efficient with the videos. But just to recap, you know, we talked about ATVK, artificial intelligence, acquisitions coming, good share structure, it's going to go. EPAS always goes. Always. Penny, 2 pennies, it doesn't matter, it always runs. So, you know, if you get it at that bottom point where you saw those 2 wicks, 005, around that area, you know, be patient. You know, it's the same thing. And then we have GRCU, which it's kind of it's an X factor to me. So we'll see what they bring to the table, but they sure have been tweeting a lot. So once we see more PRs and everything's come to light, I think it's going to be big. And then, you know, of course, we talked about Hyru, which, you know, always one of our favorites. And then we have, you know, getting geggy with it. You know, da-da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. So I'm excited about this one. Not saying go out and slap it to death. Because, you know, when we look at the chart itself, and then you can see here, it's always had resistance around this range, around 0018. You can see it's tried to push over, it doesn't have enough volume yet, so you may have an opportunity to get some around 0014. So I have my bid staggered all the way down to, I think they're at 12 with good to close, because I will gladly take more down here. So, you know, we'll see what ends up happening with it, but we'll do a follow-up video. So I appreciate you guys coming to watch the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.